In the last few videos, I talked about how Scorpio is really here to help us transform our lives. It's not necessarily an easy path. It is definitely the path of a healer, an alchemist, which also means a lot of leaning into discomfort. In the zodiac, Scorpio rules the 8th house. It is bounded by the 7th house and the 9th house. And so on one side, 7th house is intimacy and relationships and connection. And on the other side is the 9th house, which is spirituality, philosophy, understanding of higher principles. So really, Scorpio is the constellation which teaches us the nature of how can we fully connect with the world around us. How can we connect fully with our own bodies, our own selves? How can we connect fully with our partners? How can we expand our empathy, but not just in a limited binary condition, but we expand our empathy with others just as much as we expand our empathy with ourselves. That is hugely important. I cannot express enough, if you remember anything about the lessons of Scorpio, is that the power of Scorpio is two-way empathy, the double-sided empath. Many people talk about empathy and they only experience empathy one way. They experience only empathy for themselves or empathy for others. When you experience empathy only for yourself, you live a very limited and small life. You cannot jump into the shoes of another person. You often see people as reflection of your own self. You cannot grow or evolve. If your empathy is only focused on other people, and you don't have any empathy for yourself, on that extreme, you are the eternal martyr. You are that person that extends a hand of love and compassion to those who would wish to cut it off. And so then you burn out time and time again, and you feel as if you are nothing but the scapegoat of reality. So the key is to do both and to rise above the binary into a tertiary way of empathy. Tertiary empathy, or the synthesis of empathy. And if you want to know about synthesizing two extremes, in my pinned post, I talk about the Hegelian dialectic of where you synthesize the thesis and antithesis in any given concept or situation. So empathy is no different. Empathy also has a thesis and antithesis. So we often see empathy as only for empathy for others and not empathy for self, or only empathy for self and not empathy for others. But the synthesis of the two is to rise and do both. Have equal measure of empathy for self and empathy for others. This is the power of Scorpio, this very powerful, cutting empathy in which you can set incredibly good boundaries, love yourself in the process, and still love others while you're setting those boundaries. And this is why those people who channel the Scorpio energy, they don't really judge. They're often very silent in your community. They see a lot, they know a lot, and they have a lot of unique codes in which to aid and rebuild in new healthy ways. And unfortunately, our society doesn't value Scorpionic energy very much. They value more Capricornian energy, and I'll talk about that in my videos on Capricorn in the next couple weeks. But the key is to understanding Scorpio is not your friend. It is sometimes the trickster. It is the person who is willing to say, hey, this is broken, and if it doesn't get fixed, I'm walking. It is the person who says, hey, this company is unethical and I'm going to go to the authorities. This is the person who says the environment is being toxified and I am going to not participate in buying these products that destroy the environment. These are the people who are willing to say the thing that is uncomfortable, to point out the wrongdoings of society. And it is not easy to be the whistleblowers and the alchemists of the community. But the thing is, most people are running blind. Most people don't want to see what's destroying them. They want to externalize destruction and say it's some bad guy out there. They don't want to actually see that they are responsible for destroying themselves. And so when you, as a Scorpio, or wherever you bring your Scorpio energy into this reality field, you're going to be being the whistleblower. You're going to be the person who says, hey, this is unhealthy. This is not working. And that makes people deeply, deeply uncomfortable. And it's a challenge. It is a challenge. So really hone into those beautiful Taurian traits of taking care of yourself, nurture yourself, really be gentle with you. If you are a Scorpio, you also need to decrease your sensory perception. Make sure that you are not experiencing a lot of loud noises or lights or experiences. You want to look for nuance. You want to look for delicateness in the world. This is the way in which Scorpios thrive, is when they are able to see nuance and they are able to dance with it. This world desperately needs Scorpios. We need alchemists, vagabonds, whistleblowers, and visionaries. We need them. And unfortunately, we have been demonizing Scorpios in our society for a long time. And a lot of what plagues us is because of the demonization of Scorpios and the misunderstanding of this energy. But I think as we see from this energy coming from the center of the galaxy, from Sagittarius A, we are seeing this power come out between Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Capricorn. And I'm going to do videos on each of them, on their power and what kind of energies they bring. And I also want to encourage those of you who are shamans and mystics who work with elementals, you can indeed pray to Antares. You can pray to the Scorpio constellation. The entities surrounding Scorpio very much like to aid us and help us in our journey of alchemization of our life. And these energies are available to you. You can sit and even meditate on the symbol of the scorpion. You can meditate on the symbol of Scorpio or on the various astrological and mythological connections to Scorpio. And those meditations will aid you in learning how to transform your life. And wherever Scorpio touches you in your life, whether it's a small amount or a big amount, just know that you are needed. Every one of us have Scorpio on our chart somewhere, and we are needed to alchemize this world around us. We are all working together to transform and evolve. Sometimes that means looking at the dark things, looking at the things that are broken and that aren't working, and being honest about it and sharing that with the world. And sometimes it's learning about stepping back, letting something break, but taking care of ourselves, taking that energy and rebuilding something new. So I wish you many, many Scorpio blessings in the future. Blessings to all.